As a person that has struggled with high interest debt, in a sense that it was debt that was costing me the most to have, and it made me feel like I was working backwards, because I would wake up every day, go to work, get paid, and I felt like most of my income was going towards servicing my debt. I became very intentional to get rid of that debt because I understood the freedom it will give me. And so on today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you some of the things that have helped me in terms of just getting out of debt fast. And so those are the things that we're going to be looking at today. As much as we're expected to pay each and every month the minimum towards our debt, but the concept here is how to get out of debt fast enough that the banks cannot catch you. So let us get into some of those points. First things and foremost, let me introduce myself. My name is Jen Ngumalo. If you are new here, I would love for you to join us by clicking that red subscribe button on the bottom, and also do not forget to smash that like button because it does help with the YouTube algorithm. And so let us get to the point. The thing that I did, which I felt like actually propelled me much quicker to deal with my personal loan, was going back to my bank and restructuring my loan. It's like that thing whereby someone has owned a car or has owned a house for a certain period of time, and then they go to refinance it. So this is basically similar to that. It's a way of restructuring your loan, setting new terms in terms of how long are you going to pay for this, how much money are you going to be paying per month, in order for you to get out of debt quicker. What people do normally, which I highly think that it's not a wise decision. However, if you're struggling with a lot of debts, this is what these debt review companies do, is they will basically clump everything in one place, decrease the term of loan, increase the term of loan, meaning that you end up paying more, and decrease the installment that you're going to pay. Now, when you are trying to get out of debt, that will take you a very long time to get out of, and it comes with other repercussions, such as you being blacklisted, not being able to do anything, not being able to get any sort of funding from the bank whatsoever. And so this one, it's different in a sense that you do it yourself. You go to the bank and actually you do the opposite. You say, I want the term to be shorter and I want the installment to be higher, and then see if the bank will be able to do this. Now, I would say that this is largely dependent on your credit score. Your credit score needs to be very good when it comes to this. You need to be up to date when it comes to your repayment. You need to not have missed dates. You need to have a credit score, a good credit score, because a good credit score will allow the bank to be able to even say, okay, we are willing to do this for you, because they will literally be giving you a loan again, and you do not want to be going to them with a bad credit score, because what will happen is they will want to give you that loan again, but at a higher interest, which will end up costing you more. And so I would say, if you know that your credit score is good, and when I say credit score is good, check with what is this Clear Score. Clear Score will be able to show you your credit score, and they will tell you which one is a good credit score. And so just do that before you go and approach banks for this, because you want to make sure that as you're going to the banks, you know that you are likely to get a good interest rate. So what I did was I went back to Capitec and I said, I want to restructure my loan. I want to pay this quicker and I want to pay more. And what they did was they decreased the term of my loan. So instead of paying for 20 something months, I decreased it to 18 months. And then what we then did was we increased the installment. So instead of paying 2,800, I said, I'm going to pay 4,000 into the personal loan. This allowed the loan to be shorter in terms of how long I have to pay for it. And also increasing the installment means that I get to deal with the principal much quicker than to service the interest. So that is one of the things that I would say do. And as I said, this is largely dependent on your credit score. You want to make sure that as you're approaching banks for this, that your credit score is just as good. So that will be one of the things that I would say think about doing. Especially if you are if you just got a promotion, you've got a new job that pays you more, and you've got this debt, I would say that the first thing that you would do is just figure out if you can restructure your loan. But if there isn't that option of restructuring your loan, there are other options that are there as well. It's not the end of the world. There are other things that you can do in order for you to get out of debt fast. The second thing that I did, or another thing that I did, which I feel like actually helped me a lot when it comes to dealing with all of my debts, and that is including the credit cards as well as the personal loan, was to not count my bonus as mine. Now, what most people do is whenever they're going to get a bonus, like we're approaching December and people are going to get bonus, but I can tell you that majority of the time, majority of people who know very well that they're struggling with debts, they have a lot of debts, they are not thinking that I need to use this money in order for me to attack one or two debts. They are thinking, where can I spend it? And so what I did was, because I became very intentional to pay off my debt, I told myself that this money that I'm going to be getting as my bonus, which in government you get for your birthday, I told myself that I'm going to be using this money to attack my debt. Whenever I would get my bonus, I would just channel majority of it into one of my debts. I'll channel majority of it into one of my debts. And this really helped me so much in just getting out of debt quicker. And another thing that I did was, I was due to receive some of the money that my employer had been saving me for housing, because you can save if you're still renting, they can save for you, and then when you buy, you claim that money back and you get this large sum of money. And so I was due to get that money. And what I did was, I took all of that money and I channeled it on my personal loan. I think maybe I used about 5,000 of that, or less than that, or slightly more, but majority of that money I channeled it towards my personal loan. Now, what most people do, which is one of the things which is the reason why we keep living paycheck to paycheck as people, is that whenever we are getting money that we are not used to, money that we are not expecting, what we do is we take that money and we spend it, because in our minds it's all about spending, instead of fixing our finances so that we can have much more freedom with our normal salaries. It's like we forget that this money is just once off. A bonus is a once off in a year, and you want to make sure that you utilize it efficiently so that you can free up money in your salary that can come back to you. But most people do not want to think that way. And so for me, I told myself that for my bonus, it's not mine. For the money that I got as my housing subsidy, it was not mine. I channeled it towards my debt, and this really helped me to speed up in terms of paying off my loan, such that my loan I was supposed to pay within 18 months, but I think I finished it within like 14 months, because whenever I would get money, I would just hoy into it until it was done. And so I would really say that if you are due to receive a bonus this year, end of the year, in December, or on your birthday, it's coming out up, and you're struggling with debt and you want to pay off debt, you're intentional about it, do not count that bonus as yours. Do not use your bonus to buy Christmas clothes, to be buying food, endless food in the house. Find a way that you can budget for those things within your salary. If you cannot, then it's not a priority. Focus on dealing with your debt. I'm saying this if your intention is to get out of debt. If you are clear about the fact that you want to deal with your debt, then I would say that those things, such as buying kids clothes and what for Christmas and what, those things can wait. Or you can find a much more, a much more cheaper option whereby you do not have to spend a lot of money, because yes, you still want to show up for your child, but at the end of the day, these are practices that we have instilled in our children, not because they ask for them. We taught them that there is things such as Christmas clothes. Like right now, and some people are telling me that we need to buy Christmas clothes. Even my partner's like, we need to buy Christmas clothes for Nomcebo. And then I keep telling him, like, Nomcebo doesn't know about that. So I asked her, do you want Christmas clothes? Well, doesn't understand that. The only thing she wants is toys. And also because I told her that I will buy you Christmas toys. If I did not tell her that, she wouldn't know. When it comes to clothes, Nomcebo just knows that we buy clothes. She doesn't know that there are specific clothes for Christmas, there are specific clothes for Easter, or clothes for this. She just knows that there are clothes. And so the things that our kids expect is because we have instilled those ideas and those practices to them. And so you better deal with it. Since you've already planted that seed, you will find a way to do that, but just make sure that majority of your bonus money goes towards paying off your debt. Then the third thing I would say is do not pay minimum, because if you pay minimum in your debt, you're going to take longer to pay it off. Like, Even now, I've shared this in many of my videos, that when it comes to me paying off my house, I do not pay minimum, because I understand that if I pay minimum, I'm going to take longer to pay off my house. And so even with your debt, if you're intentional about paying it off, do not pay the minimum. If the bank says that you pay 1,000, pay 1,500. If the bank says you pay 500, pay 1,000. Make it in your budget that it allows you to pay an additional amount into your debt, and this will help you to push your debt as much as possible. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to film another video, which is going to be a continuation of this, talking about how to create a debt repayment plan. And there we're going to get into detail into where do you find these 500 rands to add in your debt in order for you to pay more than the minimum. And so, but for now, I'm just saying that make sure that you are not paying the money that they're saying you must pay, because if you do that, you're going to take longer to pay off your debt. So you want to pay more than the minimum. If they say pay 1,000, pay 1,500. Always add additional, and I would say that it's always good to add an additional of 500 rands. I feel like it makes a much bigger dent. There are certain debts that you can pay additional, such as your credit card, you can pay an additional, such as your personal loan, you can pay additional. For your car, you can pay additional. For your house, you can pay additional. You set these things up so that it is there, it is done. So for me with my house, what I did was, when they sent a letter to say that this is how much interest I'm going to be paying on my debt, because the interest rate has went up, what I did was I just added 1,000. So they said to me, you're gonna pay 5,000. I think it was 5,800. And then what I did was I just added 1,000 on top of that. So instead of saying I'm going to be paying 5,000, which they said I must pay, I added 8,000, making it 7,000. Actually, I just added it to be 7,000, and then that was my agreement that I sent back to my employer, saying every month make sure that 7,000 goes out to pay for my bond. That is what I did. Now, other people, what they can do is every month when they get paid, is they would add additional. They will just add additional. There's a way that you can go about this when it comes to a home loan, which, like they say, pay after the 7th, after the interest has been added, then pay. For me, I just felt like, okay, that's just too much. I just want to add here initially. I know that eventually it will add up. So if you really want to get out of debt fast, do not pay the minimum. Always add extra. And as I said, I'll do a video on creating a debt repayment plan, on how do you then go about doing this, like the implementation part. Speaking of debt repayment plan, the fourth thing is create a debt repayment plan. I feel like this is very important in order for you to stick to your decision. Now that you know that you want to pay off your debt, you are clear about the debts that you have, it's very important to then now create a debt repayment plan. When I'm working with my clients within the financial mentoring program, what we do is, if you've got debt, is we sit down and I say, tell me all of your debts. All of them. How much do you owe on each and every one of them? If you do not know, what I would say is go back to the people that you owe. Ask them, how much do you owe on this account, on this. Come back, give me the list of all those debts. How much do you owe? And then how much do you pay? How much is the interest? You need to start there when you're creating a debt repayment plan, and then you can go further, which I'm going to explain on the next video. But for now, it is very important that you create a debt repayment plan. It's very important to know how are you going to be attacking these debts in order for you to create a big dent in terms of how much money you spend on debts per month. And so sitting down and creating a debt repayment plan will allow you to be able to tackle your debt one by one, and be clear about, okay, how much am I putting on each and every debt? Okay, once I'm done with this one, we are on to the next one. How much am I putting into this one? And for how long am I planning to do this? To a point whereby when I'm doing the debt repayment plan for my clients, we put it down to the T that on this month you are finishing. On this month, you are starting to, we are adding more on the following debt, and we are going to be paying it off by this date, by this month. You should have done with this. And so what this helps with is that it allows you to track your progress. It allows you to remain accountable. And also it gives you an idea of how long it will take for you to be out of all of your debts, or how long it will take for you to be out of each and every debt. And then altogether, how long would it take for you to say you are free? And so it's very important to sit down and create a debt repayment plan. If you do not have this and you're intentional about paying off your debt, I would say sit down and create a debt repayment plan. And then the fifth thing is, I would say, know your why. Know your why, because if you know why you want to get out of debt, it will be the motivation that you need as you are paying off your debts, because there will be times whereby you feel discouraged. There will be times whereby you are just tired. There will be times whereby you feel demotivated. And so having a strong why will allow you to keep going when it comes to paying off this debt. So be clear about why do you want to get out of debt. For me, I wanted to get out of debt because I wanted to get my money back. That was the first thing. I also wanted to have freedom of my income when it comes to just knowing that majority of my income comes to me and it is not servicing debt. I also wanted to deal with my debts because I wanted to start working towards financial freedom. Me clearing out my debt was one of my means of saying I'm working towards financial freedom. And so you need to be clear about your why. There were times whereby I would get my bonus and I would look at it, I'm like, Jen, like I really want to renovate this house. I really want to do this. Like, I really would love this for my house. And then I'll remind myself, why is getting out of debt more important than me renovating my house? And so you need to be clear about your why. Why do you want to get out of debt? Sit down and think about this thoroughly. As much as I'm sharing my whys, they don't have to be your whys. Because if you take my whys as yours, they're not going to be strong enough for you to be able to remain consistent and disciplined in the times whereby you do not feel like doing it. So you need to sit down and think about your why. And also another thing for me, that was my why, was I hated the being in so much debt. And I know for some people will say, oh, hate is a lot. Hate is a big word or is a strong word. Yes, it's a strong word because it invokes strong emotions. I hated being in so much debt. I hated getting paid each and every month and seeing all of this money going towards debt. I hated that. I hated feeling like I wasn't in control of my finances. That for me was enough motivation for me to say, I am getting out of this debt. So what I'm asking you to do is sit down and think about, why do you want to get out of debt? Why do you want to pay off this debt? What is the problem? What is the rush? Because you can just sit and pay minimum each and every month. But I want you to push yourself and think, why is it that it's so important for me to pay off this debt? Once you understand why it's important for you to pay off this debt, then sit down and create a debt repayment plan. Once you've created a debt repayment plan, look at how much money you can add on each and every on those debts in order for you to get out of it faster. And then look at, if you are getting any additional income that you are not expecting, bonuses, look into channeling that into the debt so that you can get out of it fast. If you do these things, like these are things that I did. I'm not just talking about things that I didn't do. I did these things myself to the T. And it's a reason why I was able to get out of debt so quick. It's a reason why I was able to pay off my personal loan, my credit cards. It is the reason why I now sit and I get paid per month and I hardly have debts in my budget. Yes, I have like my home loan, my NSFAS, but those are things that are taken before my salary comes to me. The only debt that I pay for right now is my cell phone contract that I actively pay for. It's my cell phone contract. But before, I had credit cards, I had personal loan, I had store accounts. But I was able to deal with all of those things because I took it upon myself that this is not the life that I want for myself. And so sit down and plan and then execute. When it gets hard, remind yourself why you started. And so we have gotten to the end of this video, and I hope that you found value in this video and that you found points of nuggets that are going to help you as you work on your debts, as you work on paying off your debts. And so I'll see you on the next one. Please take care and stay safe. Bye.